We are live on a Wednesday here at the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. I gotta laugh. I gotta laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. You know, it's a good thing you have me here because if you didn't have me, you'd have to read some of the biggest bullshit, underlined bullshit that I have heard and read in so many years. And now it's so evident. If you came from Venus or Mars and you need to have an explanation or two, I want you to put aside a few minutes here. I am today referring to the so called contract extension that KNBR's beloved Mr. Shill himself, Larry Bear's favorite ass man, or kiss ass, Brian Murphy, got a 4-year contract extension because we all know that without Brian Murphy in our lives, the whole world would end. The Pope would get ill again. The Vatican would be in terrible shape. The Middle East would once again explode. Folks, to be serious for a moment, let me explain something, okay? Now, that story got out yesterday, and several of you, whether you were doing it to inform me, whether you were doing it to annoy me, whether you were doing it to make me laugh, which that you did, let me explain to you a few things, okay? And this is evident in all forms of contracts and reality versus bullshit. If you read the article in the Chronicle or whatever trade that Brian Murphy, the morning man, got an extension, it's about as informative and real as your thumb or half your thumb. Not even worth the weight of the paper it was written on. And KNBR and this alleged fake Mike Holler, Pinocchio, the program director, made a big announcement late in the morning on the show to this monumental transaction. Folks, let me tell you something. There is a word, a phrase in the business. It's called personal services contract. Now that has weight. Now that is the truth. Now that has significance. Why? Because it is a guaranteed contract. It's like baseball and to some degree basketball, where the players who play under the contracts of those respective sports have what's called guaranteed contracts. Reality, it's real baseball. When you sign a contract in baseball, that is a guaranteed contract. That means the moment you sign that, the moment you go into your job, following the signature of that contract, that's a real contract, which means the news, air quotes, that Brian Murphy of failure-ridden KNBR, the station with a 1.9 rating, the station whose own morning show is 18th in the market and will fall once again precipitously when another book is out next month. So when they announce that Brian Murphy got a contract extension, it's all bullshit. Doesn't mean a damn thing because the contract is not guaranteed. They could have signed him to a 10-year contract or a 20-year contract. It would have made absolutely the same situation. There is no guaranteed contract. There is no personal services contract. Now, you might ask me, well, it's still significant. No, it isn't. It's not significant. It's ridiculous. KNBR, part of Cumulus, the station where they have no money where they barely were able to literally could pay for the electricity bill, where they're moving, if they haven't already, into a new lovely 400 square foot, by their terms, office in lovely Daly City because they couldn't afford to pay the lease on the property that they had in downtown San Francisco near the Embarcadero, where ad lineage is way down, where they're in the final year of a contract with the Giants, most likely their last year with the Giants, because baseball has no draw, because baseball has no appeal anymore, especially with this so-called younger demo, where everybody worth anybody is leaving advertisers, KNBR, which is the name of the game in broadcasting, as in everything else. When there's no ads, when the little ads that you have are down, when the only ads, the what they call remnants ads that are around that pay about 2 cents or about the price of getting a pickle at Harry's Hofbrau, that's the reality, folks. Why are there such tenuous times in radio? They don't reward numbskill, ass-kissing shills, no talent assholes who intimidate interns, I may add, like Brian Murphy. And when they do, it's all bullshit. It has the significance of nothing. It is beyond a major nothing burger. They could have given him a 20-year contract. Why couldn't they just stop there? Saying, we're going to make him the magistrate of the land, of the king of 680. He is nothing but a shill. Now, look, I could be a dis-fan or a non-fan of somebody, but if they have a personal services contract, that's real. You know who had personal services contracts, folks? People like Ron Owens at one point when Ron was working at KGO. That meant that when Ron signed a 3 or a 4-year extension, he had a personal services contract, much like Jim Dunbar. Or people like, say, John Miller, the Giants broadcaster. He has a personal services contract. His money is guaranteed. So when he signs a 2-year deal, that means it's a 2-year deal. Unless John Miller goes in and tries to kill somebody, that would be voided. That would mean John has lost his personal services contract. This is nothing but utter bullshit, Brian Murphy. You mean the guy whose other nignut, idiotic, dumb-witted co-host, Polly Mack, who somehow, maybe he had pictures of somebody, got an enormous amount of money, by the way, which was not guaranteed either, was let go about a year ago because they were paying too much money. Now, I know what Brian Murphy makes pretty good money. He's not guaranteed. If they wanted to let go of him in 6 months, in a month, in a year, whenever, tomorrow, guess what? They don't have to pay him. He might have some clauses in that contract. Probably does, but nothing. Why? Because Brian Murphy has no leverage. What? Is he going to quit? Is he going to tell him that if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to take off and go to some radio station which will employ me? Where? There is none. They're getting rid of people, folks. They're letting people go. And the only people, folks, and that's just not at KNBR, that they're keeping are people who have spouses that work, who have an ego the size of SF Bay, and who decide that they want to work for whatever reason, and they need to have that affirmation like they're doing something. Now, look, early on in his career, I actually liked Brian Murphy on the air, but then I realized he's nothing more than a shill. He became arrogant. He became an ass kisser to Larry Bear, who basically prodded him up, made him a puppet that he is, and does anything and everything for the Giants as their ass kisser. Brian Murphy is the epitome of that corporate guy who is plain Jane, who does everything the company asks, kisses a lot of ass, also likes to nose around and snitch and do what the company tells him to do. He serves that purpose. He long ago lost talent because nobody knows what the hell he talks about, even when he does talk. I had one Bay Area broadcast official who told me he doesn't even know football. He doesn't know anything about football. He's a professional fan. So this whole idea, this whole imbroglio of news that they stopped programming early in the morning of his show the other day to announce that Brian Murphy has signed a 4-year extension. I had my own couple of people email me. Rich, I thought Cumulus has no money. They don't have any money. Why do you think they're hiring FP fucking Santangelo to do work as fill-in? Even as a fill-in, they have no money. They have these Uber drivers who also act as producers and board ops because they don't have the money to hire real people. I'll give them this. They're not the only one, KNBR. Other radio stations, but guess what? There are radio stations, none in the Bay Area, with the exception of maybe a few, that have actual talent, that have actual people, professional, know what they're doing, care about the idea, care about the company, care about the radio station, care about the clients. At KNBR, everything is in the toilet. Look at the ads. They recently had a major company, a big time advertiser, people involved in auto body was the latest to leave. They've had other big time advertisers leave. Why do you think there are radio stations that are going in the toilet every day, and why there are rumors about the sudden talk of a merger between Cumulus, which owns KNBR, and Odyssey? Talk about the blind leading the blind. Folks, do me a favor. Reality check. The extension is all bullshit. It's a way to pump up the boys. I don't know, maybe upgrade the, shall we say, the bad feelings going on around radio stations. And in this case, make them feel like something of significance took place. Oh my God, they got Brian Murphy on a 4-year extension. For what? For what? The 18th ranked, it might be lower as I talk now, the 18th ranked morning show on a failing radio station. Their counterpart, 95.7 The Game, laying people off left and right, not just on the air, but off. They have no money. And when you have no money, you have to seek means. You have to kiss the ass of corporate and beg that you could see another day. I can't believe, even under these bizarre times, that people will fall for this shit, which is, again, I'm going to pat myself on the back, or at least inform you, instruct you, and vilify you if you don't. You have to come here to understand what is reality, what is real, and what is utter bullshit. I hope you spread the word, and I know you will, and word gets out that the Brian Murphy contract extension is about as laughable, is about as poignant as a week old kumquat in heat.